So Scream is a phenomenal franchise. It spans 6 films and 3 decades, but if you're a little bit rusty on all the killers, the plot twists, and of course the rules, don't worry. We're recapping everything you need to know about this franchise. Now there is a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive in. Now the first film was directed by Wes Craven, who is already a legend in the slasher genre. He helped shape horror films early on with The Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes, and then he created a slasher franchise juggernaut, A Nightmare on Elm Street. But by the late 1980s and early 90s, iconic slasher franchises devolved into nonsense cash grabs, including his own.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul, too!
After watching the demise of his own franchise and directing the box office bomb that was Vampire in Brooklyn, he swore off the horror genre forever. Until, of course, Scream. Scream opens with Casey Becker, played by Drew Barrymore, getting a wrong call when she's asked,
"What's your favorite scary movie?"
Now the caller begins taunting her, revealing he's already captured her boyfriend Steve. He forces her to play a game of horror movie trivia to save his life, but she ultimately fails.
Name the killer in Friday the 13th.
Jason! Jason!
I'm sorry. That's the wrong answer.
The caller kills Steve before terrorizing her in the iconic Ghostface costume. Then he kills Casey, leaving a particularly gruesome sight for her parents. Now this scene is iconic, and it establishes the tone for the entire franchise. For one, it was incredibly subversive. I mean, Drew Barrymore was the biggest name in the cast. The studio sold it as her film. Everybody expected her to be the final girl. So by killing her in the opening scene, they were completely subverting expectations. It was the 90s version of killing Ned Stark in the first season of Game of Thrones. Secondly, it was one of the first slasher films to assume that the characters within the movie also watched scary movies, and that instantly made Scream so much more fun and enjoyable than a typical slasher. It wasn't about stupid teens making dumb decisions. These are smart characters trying to abide by slasher movie rules when the murder spilled into their own lives. After Casey and Steve's deaths, we're introduced to our heroine, Sidney Prescott, and her boyfriend, Billy Loomis. Now, Sidney's mother, Maureen Prescott, was raped and murdered a year earlier, presumably by a man named Cotton Weary. That trauma really dampened Sidney and Billy's relationship, so he sneaks into her bedroom in hopes of getting some action. They're almost caught by Sidney's father, Neil, who, unaware of the murder, is leaving early the next morning for a conference out of town. Great timing. The next day at Woodsboro High, we meet the rest of Sidney's social circle. There's Tatum, her best friend, and Tatum's boyfriend, Stu Macher. There's Randy, a horror film buff, an eternal fifth wheel. There's also Deputy Dewey Riley, Tatum's older brother, and Gail Weathers, a TV journalist whose main claim to fame is her coverage of Maureen Prescott's murder. Now, there is a lot of bad blood between her and Sidney because she theorized that Cotton Weary had an affair with Maureen but didn't murder her. And fun fact, Courtney Cox wanted to play the role because she, quote, wanted to play a total bitch as an inverse to her character on Friends. Sidney decides to stay with Tatum until her dad comes home. And as she's waiting to be picked up, Ghostface calls her and she's attacked. She runs up to her room and IMs 911 because apparently that's a thing you could do in the 90s, and Billy climbs in through her window. Now when a cell phone falls out of Billy's pocket, Sidney gets suspicious and he's detained. At the police station, they can't reach her father, even though he gave her specific details of his hotel.
At the airport.
He's not registered there.
As Tatum and Sidney leave, they're cornered by Gail Weathers. Now, Sidney punches her, a recurring bit throughout the franchise.
Oh, Sidney, share with us, please.
Oh! Nice try, sweetie. But I've done this dance before. Oh!
The next day, Sidney runs into Billy at school. The police released him after they confirmed that none of the calls came from his phone, and we find out that Billy is also motherless.
When my mom left my dad, I accepted it. It's the way it is.
They fight, and Sidney runs into the bathroom where she is attacked once again by Ghostface. She escapes, but the school principal, not so lucky. Also, there's a fun Wes Craven cameo where he's dressed like Freddy Krueger.
Damn little shits.
Would you call me?
The town is put on curfew, and Stu decides to do the most teenager thing ever. He throws a party. Tatum and Sidney both go to enjoy themselves, while Dewey goes to keep an eye on things, and Gail goes for a story. Tatum is the first to be killed at the party. Cornered by Ghostface in the garage, she thinks it's all a joke.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
And then she gets killed by the garage door. Meanwhile, in the living room, Randy lays out the ultimate rules for surviving a horror film. Number 1.
You can never have sex.
Number 2.
You can never drink or do drugs.
And number 3.
Never, ever,
ever, under any circumstances, say, "I'll be right back."
At the same time, Sydney and Billy reconcile upstairs, and you guessed it, they break rule number 1. Immediately, they're attacked by Ghostface, and Billy is stabbed while Sydney flees. Gail and Dewey, who were investigating the premises, find Neil's abandoned car. Now, when they rush back to the house, they discover the body of Gail's cameraman, and then Ghostface stabs Dewey. Gail tries to flee, but she swerves off the road and crashes. Back at the house, Sydney finds Randy, Stu, and an injured but still alive Billy. And then we get the big reveal.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
But wait, another twist. Stu is also the killer.
Surprise, Sydney.
Yes, that's right. They were working together, and that's how they kept everybody fooled. Billy wants to kill Sydney because her mother, Maureen, had an affair with his dad, which is why his mother left. And by the way, he's the one who really murdered Maureen, and he framed Cotton. Wait, what's Stu's motive? He doesn't really have one. He's just there for the vibes. Now, the duo is planning to blame the whole thing on Neil, who they kidnapped the night they murdered Casey Becker. That will leave them as famous sole survivors. Now, before they can kill Sydney, though, Gail Weathers comes back on the scene and Sydney slips away. Donning the Ghostface costume herself, she stabs Billy with an umbrella and then kills Stu in the most epic way.
In your dreams.
Billy recovers and tries to stab Sydney, but is ultimately shot by Gail and then fully killed by Sydney. The police show up, Dewey is rushed to the hospital, and Gail is first on the scene to report the story. They all live happily ever after. It's a slasher movie, dude, of course not. Scream 2 opens up with the premiere of Stab, a movie about the Woodsboro murders based on the book by Gail Weathers. And if Scream is a meta-slasher movie, then Stab is a full-out parody.
What does that have to do with the plot of the story, her being butt-ass naked?
Now, at the premiere, 2 college students, Maureen Evans and Phil Stevens, get murdered by a new Ghostface. And then we cut to Sydney, who's now in college herself and has caller ID.
Who is this?
You tell me.
Corey Gillis, 5550176.
Her new friend group is introduced, featuring new and old faces alike. The new faces include Hallie, her roommate, Derek, her new boyfriend, and Mickey, a fellow film nerd. Randy is attending college with her, and Gail and Dewey come to campus following the murders. Cotton Weary, who's been acquitted of Maureen's murder, also came along with Gail. And the murders also draw a whole rash of journalists, including Gail Weathers' fangirl, Debbie Salt. There's also a ton of bad blood towards Gail because of her book. Not only did she draw more attention to the tragedy, but she also wasn't very nice at describing her fellow survivors.
Page 41. Deputy Dewey oozed with inexperience.
That night, another student named Cece Cooper is murdered and Sydney is attacked at a party. Derek confronts Ghostface, but he's left with only a cut and Sydney gets suspicious of him. The next day, Derek puts on an elaborate show and gives Sydney a necklace with his Greek letters to regain her trust. And trust me, this was actually a really bad idea.
See, you're not supposed to give your Greek letters to your girl. No shape, way, or form. The brothers are gonna kick his ass.
Meanwhile, Dewey meets with Randy, who, as our horror movie guide, gives us all the rules for the sequel. Number 1.
The body count is always bigger.
Number 2.
Death scenes are always much more elaborate. More blood, more gore.
Now, there is a third rule, but we never get to hear it.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise, never, ever...
How do we find the killer, Randy? That's what I want to know.
This haunts me at night, especially because Randy is the next to die in one of the best slasher sequences ever made. What makes this so good? Well, it starts with Randy in the safest horror movie situation ever. He's with people and in broad daylight, but slowly, Craven removes these layers of safety. As Dewey and Gail rush to find the caller, Randy is slowly isolated until he's plucked from the crowded place into the darkness of a van and murdered. It's just... Also, Cotton Weary is still lurking and corners Sydney to do an interview with him.
You don't like the press. I know that, and I respect it, Sydney. But Sydney, it's Diane Sawyer. Hello?
After everything that's happened to him, Cotton wants to use his notoriety to be famous. Now that night, Gail and Dewey go to the film building to review her cameraman's crowd footage.
If the killer really is watching and relishing every minute, then he'd be here on these tapes, right?
And they end up finally kissing. But a dark school building is never a great idea, and of course, they're attacked by the killer and Dewey is stabbed. Meanwhile, Sydney and Hallie are attacked while in a police car. Ghostface is knocked out during the crash, leading to one of the single most stressful scenes I've ever seen. They also make it, but when Sydney decides to go back and discover his identity, Hallie is killed. Also, remember when I said that the Greek letter thing was a bad idea?
You! Prepare to die. You
gave up your letters.
Derek is kidnapped for a hazing ritual where he's tied up to the set of the school play. When Sydney runs into the drama building to look for safety, she finds him and also finds Mickey. Our first killer is revealed. Unlike Stu and Billy, he wants to get caught so he can have a big celebrity-style trial like OJ. But it's Scream, so of course he's not working alone. Our second killer is Debbie Salt.
Right, the small-time journalist?
Yes, except she's not a small-time journalist at all. She's actually...
Mrs. Loomis?
That's right, it's Billy's mom. So Mickey kills Derek, and then Mrs. Loomis kills Mickey because she thought this whole celebrity trial plan was stupid. Now her motive is simple.
My motive isn't as 90s as Mickey's. Mine is just good old-fashioned revenge.
It's a reference to the movies of the 1970s when Mrs. Loomis was a teenager. Back then, revenge flicks like Death Wish, I Spit on Your Grave, and Craven's Own Last House on the Left were all the rage. Mrs. Loomis shoots Gail and is about to kill Sydney when Cotton Weary shows up. Mrs. Loomis tries to stoke Cotton's resentments towards Sydney.
If you really want to be in the spotlight, just let me kill her right now.
But Cotton ultimately saves her life after she agrees to do an interview with him.
Consider it done.
Turns out that gunshot wound did not take Gail out, and she joins Sydney and Cotton. Then day breaks and the police arrive. Just as Gail's getting ready to break the story, Dewey is brought out on a stretcher, and instead of reporting, Gail rushes to be by his side, solidifying their budding romance. Sydney points the press to Cotton, framing him as the hero and giving him the fame that he's always wanted. And in the most classic 90s coming-of-age moment ever, Sydney walks off by herself to the beat of an indie rock song. Scream 3 opens with Cotton Weary, who now has a talk show and lives in LA. He's even making a cameo in Stab 3. Now, while stuck in traffic, Ghostface calls him, demanding to know where Sydney lives. And when Cotton can't answer, Ghostface breaks into his house and terrorizes his girlfriend, Christine, while using a voice changer to sound like Cotton.
Talking about how much fun it's gonna be to rip your insides out!
Now, when Cotton gets home, Ghostface kills both of them. Meanwhile, Sydney is living in complete anonymity and isolation. Even her co-workers don't know her real name.
Hey, it's Laura from Monterey reporting to work. Can you patch me in?
Cutting to Gail, we get one of the best jump scares of the entire franchise, Gail's microbangs. Detective Kincaid brings Gail into the case, revealing that the killer left photos of Maureen Prescott on Cotton's body. Then we cut to the set of Stab 3, which is currently in production.
But wait, isn't Stab based on what happened to Sydney? How can there be 3 stabs if there's only been 2 screams?
Well, they're doing what all of the great based on a true story movies do. They're making the whole thing up. See, on the set of Stab 3, we meet a whole new cast of characters. There's Roman, the director, Angelina, who plays Sydney, Tom, who plays Dewey, and Jennifer, who plays Gail. There's also Sarah, who plays Candy, a Dumber Tatum ripoff, and Tyson, who plays Ricky, the fill-in for Randy. Now, when Gail shows up to set with Kincaid, she discovers that Dewey is also an advisor on the set and in a kind of sort of relationship with Jennifer.
So it didn't work out between them?
I'm afraid not. Dewey refused to leave Woodsboro, and Gail just couldn't live in that small town. Later that day, Sarah is attacked and murdered on set. Ghostface leaves more pictures of Maureen on her body. Her death leads Jennifer, Dewey, and Gail to realize they're killing the actors in the order they die in the film.
Oh, so it's gotta be super easy to find out who's next.
You would think, but then they pulled a Marvel.
And besides, the producers told us that there are 3 different versions of the script, something about trying to keep the ending off the internet.
The studio halts Stab 3's production, and that night, the cast goes to Jennifer's for a super depressing wrap-up party.
You're drunk.
I'm coping.
Gail is also sneaking around looking for a story, but she's caught by Jennifer's bodyguard. Now, while the bodyguard makes his rounds, he gets a call from Ghostface pretending to be Dewey.
I can't believe you said that. That makes me...
angry!
And then Ghostface cuts the lights and taunts the group with, no joke, a fax machine.
Because you want to see our inside!
Which one is it?
Come on! Ah! Who will survive? Is it Jennifer, Tom, Angelina, Dewey, Gail? The killer will give mercy to...
As the rest of the group flees, Tom stays inside to read the faxes, and then the whole place goes... Meanwhile, Sydney gets a call from Ghostface impersonating her mom.
Who is this?
It's Mother, Laura.
So she heads to Hollywood with everyone else. In Hollywood, she's visited by Martha Meeks, Randy's little sister, who has one last message from the film buff.
There's something you guys should see.
Turns out, before he died, he made a video containing the rules of the trilogy, just in case. Number 1.
You got a killer who's gonna be superhuman.
Number 2.
Anyone, including the main character, can die.
And number 3.
The past will come back to bite you in the ass.
After realizing the photos of Maureen were taken on a soundstage, Gail goes into the video archives to investigate. Jennifer tags along because...
So now, starting now, I go where you go. That way, if someone wants to kill me, I'll be with you. And since they really want to kill you, they won't kill me. They'll kill you. Make sense?
None.
And we get a fun little Carrie Fisher cameo Reno, and then we find out that Maureen lived in Hollywood for 2 years under the stage name Rena Reynolds. She's worked under John Milton, who's also producing Stab 3. Now, during that time span, she went to a party at his house where she was assaulted by multiple men. That night, Milton throws Roman a birthday party at his house. Ghostface, using a changer to sound like Sidney, convinces Gale and Dewey to come along, and immediately, things go crazy. First, Gale and Dewey discover the voice changer has all of their voices, and then Ghostface starts picking them off one by one. First Roman, then Angelina, then Jennifer, and then Tyson. Then he takes Gale and Dewey captive and uses them as bait for Sidney. Sidney goes to the house and she's attacked by Ghostface as she tries to free Dewey and Gale. She shoots him in the chest, but when she looks back, he's gone. He chases her around the house until she finally ends up in Milton's screening room where all of his legendary parties were held. And finally, the killer is revealed. It's Roman.
Oh, and who else?
He's it. Like Randy said, the rules don't apply in the third act of a trilogy. It turns out that Maureen got pregnant when she was assaulted and gave birth to Roman. He spent his life trying to find her, but when he did, she rejected him. Angry, he followed her and documented all of her affairs. He showed Maureen and Loomis's affair to Billy, prompting him to kill Maureen and try to kill Sidney. That's where it was supposed to stop, but then the Stab franchise happened and Sidney became famous, and that really pissed him off, so he lured her out of hiding to make a new movie, one where she was the killer and he was the victim. Roman kills Milton, and then Sidney and him get into a vicious fight where eventually she wins. And just to make sure he's really dead, Dewey shoots him in the head. In the last scene of the film, Sidney is back at her house, but she's no longer alone.
Oh, and then they live happily ever after, because, you know, it's a trilogy.
Yeah, you'd think. See, it was designed as a trilogy, but it's a horror franchise. They never really end. Scream 4 takes place 11 years after Scream 3. We get an opening kill, but wait, the characters are actually just watching Stab 6. And then we get our real opening kill, but wait, it turns out Stab 7 opens with Stab 6, and our characters in Scream 4 were really watching Stab 7.
It's like the Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone. A movie within a movie.
But don't worry, we get our actual opening kills when Marnie Cooper and Jenny Randall are murdered. The next morning, we're introduced to the new generation of Woodsboro teens. There's Jill, Sidney's semi-estranged cousin, Trevor, her ex-boyfriend, Kirby, the edgy horror film lover, Olivia, who's the hot girl, we literally don't find anything else out about her, and Robbie and Charlie, who are nerdy film buffs. Robbie live streams his entire life in an early parody of vlogging culture. Dewey and Gale still live in Woodsboro, where Dewey is now sheriff and working closely with his second-in-command, Judy Hicks. Meanwhile, Gale is attempting to write fiction, keyword being attempting. Meanwhile, Sidney's written a bestseller and is returning to Woodsboro for the last stop on her book tour. At Sidney's book signing, the phone from the murder is tracked to her rental car along with the knife. This makes her part of an active police investigation, so she is stuck in Woodsboro, staying with Jill and her aunt. Meanwhile, Gale is shut out of the police investigation by Dewey and Hicks, so she decides to go rogue and investigate herself. That night, Jill and Kirby get a call from Ghostface. Olivia, who's also Jill's neighbor, watches from her bedroom. Now, Ghostface tricks Kirby into thinking that he's in Jill's closet.
I never said I was in your closet.
And Jill and Kirby are forced to watch while Olivia is cut to pieces. Sidney tries to help her, but it's too late. She's then attacked by Ghostface, but he flees after the cops arrive. Sidney goes to the hospital for her wounds and discovers that her publicist wanted to capitalize on the murders, which Sidney refuses to do. So she gives her publicist the figurative axe, while Ghostface gives her a literal axe. Gale teams up with Robbie and Charlie, who think that Ghostface is filming his murders and waiting to upload them online. They also think that he's trying to make a remake of the original Stab.
Working on less of a shriekwell and more of a screamake, because all there are now are remakes.
This means that Ghostface will strike next at a party. While the obvious candidate is Stabathon, a marathon of all the Stab movies, they refuse to cancel the event.
It's Friday. I'm sure we're not the only party that's going on in Woodsboro.
Gale crashes the party and places cameras so she can look out for the killer. However, her cameras are immediately blocked by Ghostface. She calls Dewey.
This party is all about the Stab movies. Come on. How meta can you get?
And then goes in to fix her cameras. She discovers Ghostface's own cameras before she's attacked and stabbed in the shoulder. Meanwhile, the police detail assigned to Jill's house is murdered, and Sidney gets a call from Ghostface saying Jill snuck out to go to Kirby's. Sidney tries to get Kate out of the house to look for Jill, but Ghostface stabs her through a door. The friend group gathers at Kirby's for an after party, and in classic Ghostface fashion, he starts picking them off one by one. The first to go is Robbie. Sidney shows up to save Jill, but they're both attacked. She tells Jill to hide under the bed and then leads Ghostface away. Sidney escapes and meets up with Kirby, hiding in the basement. They also run into Charlie, but Kirby won't let him in.
What the fuck?
Sydney goes to find Jill, and Kirby is forced to play horror trivia in exchange for Charlie's life. Thinking that she's won, Kirby goes to untie Charlie, but boom, it's revealed the killer is Charlie.
4 years of classes together and you notice me now?
Sydney's attacked by Ghostface, and surprise, the second killer is revealed.
This is the part, my dear cousin, when the cameras turn off.
Turns out that Jill is really jealous of all the attention and fame that Sydney has garnered and wants some of her own. She plans to frame Trevor as Ghostface as revenge for cheating on her. And in another twist, she betrays Charlie, framing him as Trevor's accomplice so she can be the sole victim. After killing Trevor, Charlie, and Sydney, she beats herself up and passes out until the police take her to the hospital. In the hospital, Jill finds out that Sydney did not die, and also she accidentally divulges details about Gail's injuries.
Why, she was stabbed in the shoulder? How did she know I was too?
She goes to kill Sydney, and all the survivors get in a final standoff. But Jill loses because she forgot the most important rule of remakes.
Don't with the original.
11 years later, we get Scream 5, also just known as Scream, and this is the first film in the franchise that was not directed by Wes Craven because he passed away in 2015. R.I.P. the GOAT. Scream 5 opens with Tara Carpenter getting the infamous phone call. Just like the previous generation, Tara is a horror movie fan, but she doesn't like slashers, preferring elevated horror. What's that? Well, Tara explains it best.
You know, it's like scary, but with complex emotional and thematic underpinnings.
As always, the call turns deadly, and she's mauled in one of the most brutal scenes in the entire franchise. Miraculously, though, she survives, which draws her estranged sister, Sam, back to Woodsboro with her boyfriend, Richie. At good old Woodsboro High, we're introduced to the newest friend group. There's the twins, Chad and Mindy. Chad is a jock who's dating Liv, and Mindy is the resident horror movie nerd. They're also the niece and nephew of Randy from the original 2 movies. There's also Amber, who's Tara's best friend, and Wes Hicks, the son of Detective Judy. Sam reunites with her sister at the hospital, and we find out that she's taken antipsychotics and has delusions of Billy Loomis. After she's attacked by Ghostface, she reveals a massive secret. She is actually Billy Loomis's daughter. Her mom was having an affair with him during high school. Sam found out by reading her mother's old diaries. Now, when Sam accidentally revealed the affair to their father, he walked out on the family. And due to the guilt, Sam left at 18. Tara doesn't take all this very well and tells Sam to
Get the out!
Meanwhile, Ghostface kills Stumacher's nephew. The next morning, Tara and Richie find Dewey, and he's not doing so hot. He's no longer on the police force, and he is divorced from Gail. He lays out some rules.
There's certain rules to surviving a stab movie. Believe me, I know.
And then he tells Sydney and Gail that Ghostface is back and joins Sam and the whole crew at the twins' house. Sam tells them that she's the daughter of Billy and Mindy and realizes that they're not in a regular sequel. They're in a requel.
Not quite a reboot, not quite a sequel. Like the new Halloween, Saw, Terminator, even Star Wars. It always goes back to the original.
After a particularly unfaithful stab movie a year prior, the new Ghostface wants to revitalize the franchise.
Are you telling me that I'm caught in the middle of fan fiction?
To prove that point, Wes and his mother, Sheriff Judy, are murdered pretty much as soon as he gets home. Gail, who now has a popular talk show in New York, comes back to Woodsboro and is reunited with Dewey. With all the police at the scene of the most recent murder, Sam realizes her sister is vulnerable. Sam and Dewey rush to the hospital to call Richie, telling him to meet them there. Now, when Richie gets there, Tara is already literally fighting for her life. Ghostface knocks Richie out, but Sam and Dewey get to the hospital just in time to save them. However, Dewey is killed in the process.
It's an honor.
Dewey's murder finally draws Sydney back to Woodsboro, and she vows to finally stop Ghostface. However, Sam refuses to help, insisting that she and her sister have to leave town. On their drive out, Tara has an asthma attack and can't find her inhaler, prompting them to stop at Amber's house to get a spare. And Amber's house is none other than the original Scream house. And to top it off, she's hosting a massive party in honor of Wes. Now, by the time Tara and Sam get there, Chad's already been attacked, unbeknownst to anyone else. Richie breaks up the party.
Both Sam and Tara here have been attacked by the killer twice, and now they're here, which makes this place a huge murder target.
Leaving only our main cast of characters in the house. Gail and Sydney, who are tracking Sam and Tara, try to warn them, but it's too late. Mindy's attacked by Ghostface, but she's saved by Sam. As everyone rushes back in, they all accuse each other of being the killer, until...
I'm not the f***ing killer!
I know. Welcome to Act 3.
Sydney and Gail show up to the house, armed to the teeth. Amber tries to trick them, but no dice.
What do you think? Trap.
Amber shoots Gail, and Gail refuses to go to the hospital until Amber is dead. Inside, Sam finds Tara bound and shoved in a closet while Sydney gets a call from the killer and tries to clear the house. She accidentally shoots Richie in the leg, and then she's attacked by Amber. Sam comes to her aid, and then second killer reveal.
Thank God you're okay, because I really
really wanted to be the one to kill you.
Amber and Richie are both Stab superfans who feel persecuted by the last movie.
Because nobody takes the true fans seriously. Not really.
Now this movie isn't subtle. It takes direct aim at fan culture.
How can fandom be toxic? It's about love.
They've set up a whole new movie in which the fans will win and Sam will take the fall for the murders. They round up Sydney, Gale, and Sam, but when Amber gets to Tara, she attacks her. Sam uses the distraction to escape, and then Sydney breaks a hand sanitizer dispenser over her head. All it takes is one little spark and...
enjoy that torch.
Meanwhile, Richie finds Sam. They fight and Sam channels her father to kick ass.
I'm introducing a new rule. Never with the daughter of a serial killer.
Amber comes back for one last scare, but Tara takes her out. The police come and it turns out the twins are alive. Sam rides off with her sister and we get this awesome little end card. Then we get to Scream 6, which takes us out of suburbia and into New York City, where Tara and the gang are attending college. It opens with their classmate, Jason, killing their film professor. Him and his roommate want to finish Amber and Richie's work and he got overexcited. However, another ghost face kills Jason, and right away, we know this killer is going to be different.
We have to finish the movie. Who gives a about movies?
We cut to Sam in therapy. Following the events of the last movie, multiple theories sprouted up on Reddit that she was the real killer and framed Amber and Richie. As a result, she is facing both online and in-person harassment. She's also struggling with murdering Richie.
It felt right.
That night, Sam finds out that Tara went to a Halloween party via their new roommate Quinn and goes to get her. At the party, we meet the new friend group. There's Chad and Mindy from the last movie, as well as Mindy's girlfriend Annika and Chad's roommate Ethan. Now when Sam arrives, she finds Tara visibly drunk and making bad decisions leading to a fight.
You're out of my life for 5 years, and then you can't leave me alone for 5 minutes.
Because you're not dealing with what happened to us.
At the scene of Jason's murder, Detective Bailey, who is coincidentally Quinn's father, finds Sam's ID and the Ghostface mask that was worn by Amber and Richie. He calls Sam in for questioning, but on their way, they're attacked by Ghostface. They try to shelter in a bodega, but Ghostface just guns down the whole place. He flees just as the cops arrive, leaving behind the Ghostface mask from Scream 4. And at the station, they meet Kirby! She survived her stab wound from Scream 4, and she's now an FBI agent.
They take a special interest in Ghostface attacks.
As Sam and Tara leave the station, they're swarmed by press, including Gale Weathers. Turns out, she wrote a book about the events of the last movie, even though she promised not to. Very Gale Weathers of her.
That's what I do.
She tells them that Sydney is hiding with her husband and kids and will not be coming to New York. And this is actually the only film that Sydney is not in.
Wow, so I'm glad that Sydney is finally free and not running towards danger.
Yeah, me too. But really, behind the scenes, Neve Campbell didn't think she was getting paid enough and decided not to come back. Then Sam's therapist is murdered. Ghostface steals Sam's file and leaves behind Roman's mask from Scream 3. Meanwhile, Mindy deduces,
we're in a franchise.
New term means new rules. 1.
Everything is bigger than last time.
2.
Whatever happened last time, expect the opposite.
And 3.
The worst part is, franchises are just continuing episodic installments designed to boost an IP, which means main characters are completely expendable now too.
That night, the friend group gathers at Sam and Tara's apartment for safety in numbers, and Chad coins a group name.
The Core 4.
However, in the next room, Quinn is murdered by Ghostface before he attacks the rest of the group. Ghostface stabs Annika before they barricade themselves in Quinn's room. They're forced to crawl over a ladder to a neighbor's apartment, but Ghostface breaks in and sends Annika to her death. This time, Ghostface leaves behind the mask from Scream 2. Detective Bailey is pulled from the case but vows to find the killer. The group teams up with Gale, who has discovered Jason's secret stab shrine. The next day, the group devises a plan to lure Ghostface into the open, but Gale isn't included.
Sorry, Gale. No press allowed. I'm good at my job too.
They decide to wait for Ghostface to call Sam so Kirby can track his location. Since the killer usually calls from nearby, they assume that he'll do the same thing this time. However, he's actually calling from Gale's apartment, leaving them to rush to hers while she's attacked. Ghostface kills her new boyfriend and then stabs her. Sam and Tara arrive just in time to scare him off, and Gale is rushed to the hospital. Kirby fortifies the abandoned theater and tells the group to meet her there. As they're getting on the subway, Mindy and Ethan are separated from the rest of the group. And I know Ghostface is around and everything, but you want to know what the real nightmare is here? Taking a local train to get from 96 to 23rd.
How many stops do we have? 10.
You're telling me there was never an opportunity to transfer to an express? Not trusting Ethan, Mindy distances herself from him, but is then stabbed by Ghostface. Luckily, Ethan is able to haul her off at the next stop and she receives medical treatment. Tara, Sam, and Chad meet Kirby at the newly Ghostface-proof theater.
He steps in through the first door, both doors lock automatically, trapping him inside. We turn it into a kill box.
As they wander around, Sam starts hallucinating Billy.
Whenever someone says we're safe here, it means you're not.
Meanwhile, Tara and Chad share their first kiss. Then Bailey calls Sam, insisting that Kirby is the killer, and Chad is attacked and mauled by 2 Ghostfaces. Sam and Tara flee but are cornered by the Ghostfaces. Both Kirby and Bailey appear at the same time, and then boom, killer reveal.
You?
Yeah, of course, me.
It's Bailey, but he's not alone. He is accompanied by his 2 kids, Ethan and Quinn.
You didn't see that one coming, did you?
Turns out they faked Quinn's death. And to keep on theme, Ethan has Nancy Loomis's mask and Quinn has Stu's mask. They want Sam to wear Billy's mask so they can frame her. These 3 are Richie's family, and they hate Sam for killing him. They even spread the rumors online that she was the real mastermind.
It's not enough to just kill someone these days. You have to assassinate their character first.
Kirby regains consciousness and shoots at them before Ethan stabs her with Jill's knife. Sam hits him with a brick and then takes the knife back. She flees upstairs with Tara. When the 2 of them are cornered by Ethan and Quinn, they gain the upper hand when Sam lets Tara stand on her own.
Don't let me go.
Tara kills Ethan and Sam kills Quinn before she takes a page out of Sidney's book in the original movie. Then she kills Bailey, ending the most recent spree of Ghostface murders. The police show up, Kirby gets medical attention, and surprise, Chad lives once again. The movie ends with Sam dropping the Ghostface mask, leaving her legacy behind.
Now is it gonna be happily ever after?
Well, for Sam and Tara, maybe. They are not returning for Scream 7. The studio fired Sam's actress, Melissa Barrera, and Jenna Ortega is super famous and is unable to return due to scheduling conflicts. So it is possible that this is the last part of their story, and yes, they got to walk happily into the sunset. Scream 7 will bring the focus back to Sidney Prescott and her daughter, who we've never seen before. We know that Chad and Mindy are returning, but beyond that, the film could go anywhere. We'll just have to wait and see how Ghostface surprises us next. But let us know down below, are you excited? Did we miss anything? And of course, what's your favorite scary movie? Huge shout out to Brianna McLarty who wrote this video. You can find her social links below, and if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.